He struck him out, and Morris has a no-hitter.
There's a drive to left. That one is long gone.
You don't want to walk you.
There's a long drive to right, and it is a home run for Gibson. A 3-run homer. The Tigers take it 8-4.
There's a long drive all the left down the line. If it stays there, it's gone. If they fair ball, hits the facing of the upper deck. Home run number 50 for Central Fielder.
And hello, everybody, and welcome to the Roar Live right here on the MyMichiganTV.com and the Cavana Broadcast Network's YouTube. And so much to talk about tonight in regards to the Detroit Tigers, who are the first to 50 games wins. I didn't think we would be talking about 50 wins for the Tigers in June. What do you think, Corey?
They're the first.
They're the first of 50. They are actually
They're
actually 5 games ahead of the Yankees in wins.
Why are you worried about the Yankees?
Well, we were just talking about the top teams. I mean, Astros have more wins than the Yankees.
Yep.
But so the Tigers are 50-30.
Nice.
And they won last night against the Athletics, who always seem to
No, they play them hard.
Be a
They're
thorn
pesky.
in their side.
They're like, that's the Norton and Ali thing again. They play them hard, but
Right.
it was good to see them get them like that.
Yeah.
Because they give the Tigers a flux.
Well,
Give 'em a flux.
and everybody was talking about the horrible June that Kerry Carpenter's had, and he was able to kind of break out of that slump a little bit last night with a home run.
Yeah.
Torres still on a tear, 2 for 5 last night. Colt Keith got a hit. I was talking with my father about the Tigers, and
Shot the pops.
we always seem to somehow or another a conversation gets on the subject of the Tigers. But I'll tell you something: they're still gritting it out, if you want to use that word.
Flaherty.
I'm kind of worried about Flaherty.
I am too. He's 5-8. His ERA is 5.
Yeah, he has not been doing too well. But Skubal had kind of a rough night, if you want to call it. But 6 innings, he gave up 4 runs.
And we need to
8
talk about that
strikeouts.
contract too. Yeah. Well, sometimes you can get the monster.
Yeah.
Sometimes School is still human,
Right.
although he doesn't pitch like that all the time.
Right.
But sometimes you can get to him. Like these are pros
Right.
on the other end.
Yeah.
They are pros, so you can get. Sometimes you got guy, and then you see him. You see people know they know what his strengths and weaknesses are. It's just when you get into the plate, up to bat with him, it's a mental battle, or sometimes he's going to blow you away. He's just that good. He can out-mental you and just overthrow you.
Yeah.
So
they're still chugging along. I think they're going to have to probably add some pitching coming up soon.
yeah.
So what have we got? A couple more weeks before the All-Star break, and then maybe a week or 2 after that is the trade deadline. So we talked about. We talked about what? You liked Chris Sale coming here.
He's not, though.
I don't think that's going to happen.
No, he's not.
But
That
then
would've been big.
They did. Scott Harris did say that they were looking to make a move. But let's talk about this. The subject has come up. What do you do with Skubal? He's going to demand upwards to, he might want a 10-year deal.
No, he wants $500 million. He wants $500 million.
He's under team control for the rest of this year and all of next.
Yep.
So for me, I think I would.
He wants 10 years. Let's put that out there to the audience. He wants 10 years. The question is, do you pay him that much money for that amount of time?
I would say no. Just because.
I'm shocked.
Well, no, don't be shocked.
I know you know your stuff. I'm just saying you're such a homer.
Listen, I don't know about him a homer.
You're a Tiger fan. That's
Right.
like that. Okay.
But, I think, I just think that's too much money for any player.
I think so.
Especially a player that's only giving you something every 5 days.
I agree. I agree.
If this was a everyday outfielder or infielder at that for something like that, you have to look at it because that's just the market for a lot of these
It's just the
top-notch players. But
Yeah.
maybe they try to. I mean, Scott Boras is his agent, and it's not going to be easy
not.
to get him signed.
It takes two to dance.
So what do you do? You're kind of between a rock and a hard place, right? I mean,
You are.
you got a winning staff right now. I mean, a winning team. You're 50 and 30 something,
Mm-hmm.
and you have a good shot at winning the division.
Probably will.
Unless things
just
fall
go
apart,
totally south.
then you're looking, So if they were not a competitive team, I would say probably trade them and see what you could get prospect wise.
Well,
But we talked about this before though. Would you make a commitment of that kind of much money in that many years to somebody? I mean, don't get me wrong. I love Terry Skubal.
Mm-hmm.
I would love to see him here, but I don't want to see him here to the point where in the next 4 or 5 years, you can't sign anybody else.
I was listening to that's what's going to happen. I was listening to a young man talk, and he said the problem is, and I see it from his standpoint. I wouldn't do it. I just would. It's too many years for a pitcher. But he said, when are like the Detroit teams going to take that risk for that star?
Well, he's
like
28
whether it
right
be the
now.
Pistons, Red Wings, Lions. When do we become? Yeah, he's 28, right?
He's 20. He'll be 29 in November of this year. A 10-year deal for
That's 40 years. You
a
can't do it.
pitching somebody that would be 39 by the time the contract would end.
And when
up.
pitchers go, they go.
Right.
You can't do it. If I'm the Tigers, you don't do it.
Well, I mean, history shows you really can't do
He's
it.
going to get paid.
Yeah.
He's going to get paid no matter what. But I wouldn't do the 10 years. For one, Skubal's too violent. He throws violently. So you're taking you got to look at the risk with this.
Right.
Like some people say, well, forget it. Just risk it. Maybe it turns out well. But that's too many years for it to turn out well.
I agree with you.
Can you get him for 5 years? Can he negotiate? See, that's the thing.
I mean, when does a pitcher? I mean, when did Verlander start kind of tailing off?
That's a good
A couple
question.
seasons ago.
Like four. See, like he didn't even.
So you figure he's 20. He'll
4
be
or 5.
29 next year, going on 30. I mean, what prime is for a pitcher? What about 33?
32, 33. Unless he comes up with something like Tanana and finesse, you just can't. It's too long, and it's too much money. And I like he's the ace.
But how do you
And
justify to the fans?
He's gonna up hike it. He's about to win another Cy Young.
Yeah, and how do you justify to the fans saying? Because I mean, you figure this. They're going to have to figure something out. If it's not by the end of this year, you have to figure out something next year.
Yeah.
Because you can't just, and then your price kind of to trade a Skubal. What if they're in the hunt next year?
Right.
You're just
need
going to
him.
trade them?
Yeah, you're right.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, so it's like, what do you do? I mean, to give a guy up like that for, I mean, what last year they were talking about trading him to the Orioles
No.
for
Ladies
their young guys.
Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, when you guys don't pick Skubal up, I have a hat on. The hat that I have on is a New York Yankee hat.
But do you think
That's
that would be
where
a
he's
wise
coming.
move for the Yankees to spend that kind of money on Skubal? Because if he's going to the Yankees, he's going to get everything that he wants.
We don't care. We don't care. So you got Fried, him, and Cole. We don't care. If you guys don't want him, we will. You got to keep the ace some way, somehow. This is what the Tigers are going to do. They're going to put it out there like it's on Skubal.
Right.
They have to.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it's really up to Scooble. Does he want to be here?
He says he wants to be here in when they talk to him, but he said, just like we all know, the business side of baseball is a lot different than
It is.
the everyday game playing of baseball.
$500 million.
Where did you get the $500 million from? Did you that's what you think, or did you hear something?
What is he going to get? What do you think he's going to get? Like, I heard, like, you know, for 10 years.
Did you hear 10 years?
Yeah, I heard 10 years. He wants 10 years. That's the whole thing. They want the years so they can keep getting paid even when they go south.
Well, think about this. When you look at all the times the Tigers tried to do that, it hasn't worked out
has
well
not
for
worked.
them. Miggy, Victor Martinez.
And those guys didn't, you know, or two guys that didn't. Martinez is a catcher, so wear and tear. Miggy didn't stay in shape at all.
Right.
So he did.
But then
helped
when they let Scherzer walk, and he goes out and wins what, 2 Cy Youngs after he left here, and then even when you look at who they got back for Verlander, Verlander left here, won a World Series. Scherzer did the same thing, and I mean Verlander's pitching still to this day.
Well, you gotta. This is on Harris. Now we're about to see how good he is. Because I would not want to give him up.
I agree with you.
I would not want to
You
give him up.
gotta maybe try to get him to some kind of an extension
Yeah,
in some way, somehow. Because I mean,
they should have did it last year.
because my thing is,
They should have extended him last year.
like we were saying before, you let him go, and you're
in
a
a
winning
world-
team right now.
you start
who,
over.
who do you actually go out and say, well, we're going to get rid of Scooble? Who do you bring in here?
The only thing you can bring in is Skeens. And you're not going to do that because we're going to get one of them. We're getting Scooble or Skeens. If the real boss, if the dad was still here, we'd have Scooble and Skeens. I just hope the kids do it. But you can't bring anybody under him.
Right.
Like who? There's no replacement. I never seen, even as great as some of the greatest pitchers we've ever had. Like, seriously, and I'm not saying Scooble's going to be a Hall of Famer if he keeps this up, but I've never been so what's the word I'm looking for? I've never been so sure of a win when this guy goes on. Like,
Right.
no other pitcher.
Oh, I agree
No
with
other
you.
pitcher has ever. I didn't see Cy Young. I heard he was good. Just an award named after him. But I've never seen a pitcher go out and you know it's a win.
Yeah.
For 99% of the time. It's going to be tough. But you look at Kershaw.
Well, honestly, if you're thinking 10 years and upwards to 500 mil, really, isn't there only 2 teams in this league that could afford, maybe 3 teams that could afford that contract? Dodgers, Mets,
Yankees.
Those 3.
That's kind of pretty much it.
And
he just can't go to the Dodgers.
well,
I'll just quit watching baseball.
we didn't think the Dodgers were going to do what they've done, and they keep adding.
Jesus.
You know,
Yeah, so it's a tough because you want that marquee. Scooble, he's going to put fans in these seats. He's going to give you wins. He's going to give you 110%. Like I said, he's your real all-star.
so let me ask you this:
He's a
so do you
superstar.
think now is the time, not knowing what you're going to get out of Scooble, or if he's going to come back after, let's say, next year, if he doesn't sign, is now the time for Scott Harris to say, we got to go get him, we got to go get him, we got to go get him, and we got to go get him, and mortgage the farm system to bring in all-star players to win a World Series now? Because here's the thing. If they go out and grab a few players and kind of get rid of a few prospects that they don't want, but if it brings them a World Series now, then you could kind of justify next year, well, if we have to trade Scooble, at least we won a World Series. What do you think?
World Series cures it all because you're all in.
Because if they're not all in now, and they're still going for a title, a World Series title this year, and let's say they don't get there because they didn't make those kind of moves, then next year,
You make the moves in school bowls.
yeah, I mean, and they're, let's just say they're winning, but you don't go and make the moves, and then you're going to completely lose out.
Well,
I mean, that would be, you talk about devastating.
yeah. Well, you better win the World Series now.
Yeah.
You better win it now because
I mean, they
chances
have
are-
the farm. They have the farm system to pick up some all-star players to win now. I think,
you better do it
but
because now
is
it's no.
mortgaging the future worth winning a World Series right now? Mm-hmm. To put yourself back after this kind of long rebuild, to put yourself into that position. So let's just say you have to give up a Anderson or a Clark or a McConaughey or a Rainier. Giving up those guys, I mean, yeah, they're top prospects right now, but
So
and
what?
you don't know what you're going to get. I mean, you do, but you don't.
You just said it. So what?
Okay,
So what?
I happen to agree with you.
Because World Series are hard to come by.
Yeah,
84.
that's the last time you won a World Series.
Yeah. Win it now. That's what it, and we'll get into that ring stuff later, but win it now. If you can win it, you got Scooble.
Yeah.
You know,
I mean, you definitely, to
You
me,
win-
you
you got
need to
50
bring in
wins.
another starting pitcher. You might need to go and get
you have to do. You need another start.
Alcantara from the Marlins, or I heard through some sporting shows that the Brewers might end up being sellers at the deadline, and you could bring their starter
aren't they up?
Peralta over here. They said that they're right now. Let's see. They are looking in the National League. They're in second place, 45 and 36, 2 out. But you know, who knows what you're going to get at the deadline? Do you think you can still get in because the Mets and the Phillies are up there, and then then you have the Dodgers, Giants, Padres, and for the most part, the Diamondbacks have been playing well. So if you can't get yourself don't think you can get yourself a wild card, they might be sellers at the deadline.
Yeah. Again,
I mean, I don't know. I mean, it's interesting to see.
Yeah,
it
it
is.
is. They say Scott Harris is smart. I think he's smart. We're about to find out. We're about to see what happens. He's going to earn his money one way or the other.
And then the guy that we were talking about bringing in here, Eugenio Suarez, I heard he just got kind of nicked up the other day.
Yeah.
So who knows, man?
Who knows? But they got a stranglehold on the division. So, like I said, they should win that. I think they will. Now it's the next step. You can't just do all this and be like, oh, we had a good season. Go get into the World Series.
I just think if you don't go out and get the guys that you need to get to win now, it makes losing Scooble a whole lot worse next year.
It does. It does. Look at this. Yeah, I never thought they would be 9 up on Cleveland.
Yeah.
The race is over. To me, what is the Whites? What is that? 24 and 5. They're 24 and 25 games out.
Well, I mean, they're not as bad as the Rockies. Rockies have only won 18 games.
They should just go play softball.
Well, you're right. I agree with you.
Just have a fun league.
I mean, when you look at it,
Coors Light League, yeah.
I mean,
Coors Field.
that West, whoever's coming in, whoever's winning that world's coming out of the National League, it's going to be from that division. I think LA's got the most firepower, to be honest with you, to hang on and win.
If the Tigers went to the World Series and they played out of the West, the only team that they won't beat is the Dodgers. I think Frisco will give them a better run than San Diego would if San Diego made it.
I agree with you.
The Dodgers are going to win the World Series.
So let me ask you something.
Now they're
So-
4.5. At first, they're like, everybody's, it's close, it's close. It's kind of close, but once you get 6 and 7, you don't want the Dodgers to get 7-game lead.
So if if you go to, let's say, a World Series with the Dodgers, who would the Tigers would have to legitimately, I think, go out and get maybe 1 or 2 starters. Because, I mean, don't get me wrong, Mize has had his issues. I know Reese Olson's coming back, but Flaherty has, I mean, all players go through slumps, but Flaherty's kind of coming down to earth a little bit.
Yeah, Flaherty, yeah, he's
So,
not.
I mean,
You got game 1, and that'll be the way the Dodgers lineup is no weakness. They hit 1 through 9, and they still haven't really just gone crazy yet. That's the only thing. So you don't want to face the Dodgers in the world. Nobody does. Nobody. If the Dodgers don't win it, I'll be very, very shocked. I'll be.
well,
they have
with
too
what
much.
the talent that, yeah, you're
It's
right.
just too much.
So, is it just good? Do you think for Tiger fans or the Tigers organization, is it good, just good enough for them to say, "Well, we went to the World Series"?
Well, Detroit fans do that. That's what they do. They're doing it with the Lions. They're doing it with the Tigers. They did it with the Pistons. The Pistons, I'm giving them a pass.
Well, do you think ownership?
Red
that's
Wings
all
spoiled
they
us.
care about is, well, we got to the World Series.
That's it.
You think so?
I think so.
So you think ownership, from an ownership standpoint, as long as they get to the big dance,
'Cause that's more money.
yeah, you are right.
You just said it's a business.
Yep.
Yep, it's a business, and I think getting to the World Series would be a huge. I'm not one of those people that's going to say. I mean, I talk crazy, but I'm not going to say the Tigers not getting to the World Series or getting to the World Series and losing is a bust. It's not.
So let me.
Yeah,
ask
you want to
th-
win it,
Well, let me ask you this.
but they can't win it. They can't beat the Dodgers.
So let's.
But it's a great
say,
season.
right? So let's say they go to the World Series this year against the Dodgers and lose.
Yeah.
Is that enough to say, well, we got there, but we needed this, and we still didn't get it, and now would be the time to get rid of Scooble, because we know we're not going to be able to sign him. Because then if you got to the World Series, think about this: you get to the World Series with him, then you could say, well, maybe we could trade him in the off season, and somebody would have him for a full year, and you might be able to get more for him. Because if you trade him at the deadline next year, I can't see that big of a haul coming back for a half a season, unless he signs with whoever they're trading him to, because they're going to want some insurance.
Right.
It's a tricky situation.
It is.
It really is.
Well, if you get there with him,
Right.
he's 50% of the reason why you're there.
Exactly. What's the most years you'd give him?
5.
Yeah, I would say so.
5. Half of the 10.
Yeah.
Doesn't that make sense, people?
Well, Scott Boras does have and this is where I think it might hurt him, because Scott Boras has a tendency to overvalue his players.
That's his job.
Well, yes, but do you think it would? You think at some point Scooble's going to be like, "Look, we're not going to get this. I can do that. We can do this."
I'm not. I don't know. I don't, like 400 million, 500 million. Is there a difference? I guess 100 million, right?
Yeah.
A lot of it plays on, like, does Scooble like it here? See, we don't know. We don't know all the inside stuff. Like, does he like it here? Will he make the attempt to be like, Scott, just chill out? You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, is he going to do that? Does he see something? Like, Barry Sanders left, I think, because he saw there was no end to losing.
Oh, I agree with you.
But if you
wholeheartedly.
get to the World Series, maybe Scooble wants to run it back and stay. It's not like this is Colorado.
But like you said, it's not easy getting there and then going back again.
It's not. You got to do it now.
Would you say it's a little easier baseball-wise than, let's say, football and basketball? I mean, the Dodgers have been there.
Yeah, because
Astros.
it's a little easier, I would think. Football's definitely the hardest.
It's something definitely to consider.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, you kind of weigh the pros and cons. Well, we went out and signed Zimmerman a few years ago. That was a complete bust.
And
you
name-
let Scherzer walk.
Yeah.
That ended up being a bust.
Yeah. And name a pitcher who got the big deal, who was a big arm like that, who didn't get hurt.
Well, we see it with Cole, with New York.
Lucky Freed came in, but we needed it all together to work.
Right.
But, yeah, I mean, Verlander got hurt. Scherzer
Yeah.
got hurt. I just mentioned the kid in L.A. Kershaw got hurt.
Ohtani got hurt.
Yeah. Otani got. So what's
Yeah.
the chances of what, Scuba, you're just going to not get
That's a man that for an owner.
Yeah.
That is a real.
That's a head scratcher, man.
Yeah.
It's a keep you up at nighter.
Or maybe would you say maybe if you were an owner and you want to kind of build through the draft or grab younger players and build them up, kind of like the Marlins and to a certain extent maybe the Royals, Braves. Braves are in it. They've been up in there for a while.
What worries me about the Tigers bringing up the young kids, none of them have been stars.
Right.
I mean, none of them have been stars yet. So that's like Kansas City. They had a run. They won the World Series. They were stars. They had Hosmer. They had like Tigers haven't. That star hasn't come out like enough. Like there's no. To me, the Tigers still can't hit. When do you take that off of? Riley Green's actually been pretty good. He's playing pretty
He's
good.
He's got the second best voter behind Judge, I think, in the American League.
I think yeah, but also too like Riley Green he still strikes out too much for me to be a left-hander. I think left-handers are the best hitters ever to walk the face of the earth. All the great ones. It's a stat. You can just look it up. But he has been playing well. Still strikes out too much. But keep in mind, like, the All-Star game is a popularity contest and winning. If you're winning, you're going to get most of the players out there. So I don't think Riley Green's a superstar. I think he's a good ball player that can help your team. But he has been playing well. He's been swinging the bat well. But, like, as far as, like, superstardom, it's just, I mean, and he can get better. He's still young, too. So he can get to that point where the strikeouts cut down and the gold gloves come. But their system hasn't produced like those other, like a lot of these teams, like the kid from Baltimore and like you said, you mentioned Kansas City. So I would, for the Detroit Tigers' sake, I would love for them to keep Scooble.
Riley Green is batting 299. So he's gone up since we've talked before.
Yep, because he was at 286, so he's hitting.
Yeah. But other than that, Wenzel Perez is played well. He's batting 307. So Baez is still hovering around 293. But he's had his ups and downs. But a lot of these players are going to have their weeks where it just doesn't click for them.
And the superstars, they get it back up there.
So
that's the thing. The stars get it back up there.
Green has struck out 100 times already this year.
So there's more of that to come. So the average could probably fall. You see what I'm saying? Like
Right.
he doesn't. Will he hit 300? No. Him hitting 280 is good. That's the caliber he is. That's what he is. He's never going. I don't think he'll ever be a 300 hitter because there's the strikeouts that you got to cut down the strikeouts. But he's a good ball. Like him and Scooble could be the faces. You know what I mean? Like he can. People love Riley Green.
Yeah.
That's why he's an all-star.
Yeah. And looking at other stats here,
But yeah,
I mean,
he's having a better year. I think Trout's an all-star. I love Trout.
does it scare you though that when you and I know we've talked about this before, like last night, another 11-4 victory. But what happens after they score 11 runs? It's just been their MO all season long.
Yeah.
So,
and they needed this win because they were 5-5.
Yeah, in the last 10.
The last 10.
Isn't it funny that they were 5-5 in the last 10, and they still? I think at one time Cleveland gained a game on them, but then now they're back at 9.5.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the beauty of baseball. Best game in the world.
So listen, the Tigers are in a series now with the
pesky Athletics.
pesky Athletics, who are playing in a minor league
Does Coco
ballpark.
Chris still play for them?
No, yeah, they probably would be better off if he was.
I don't know any of their players.
I don't either.
And shame on me because I'm a baseball person. I don't know any other players.
I mean,
Nor do I care to know them. Like, I guess,
maybe,
I want to know them.
maybe they'll make a splash when they finally move to Vegas.
I used to love Oakland with Canseco. And
Yeah,
all. I love that.
I mean, I just hate to see
It's a storied franchise, too.
Yeah.
Wow.
What are you going to do? What else you have on it? I know we were going to talk some NBA. What do you got?
Congratulations to OKC.
Yeah, absolutely. And that Gregorius Alexander,
Yeah, he's special.
He's a good kid too, man.
He's a good kid.
You heard him talk afterwards, and he actually went into the Indiana Pacers locker room to kind of console Halliburton.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that was a classy act,
Very classy.
and it's nice to see. It's kind of refreshing to see that.
It is. He's a good kid, man. He's going to be – their team's going to be around. That team's going to be around for a minute. He's a good leader. See, it all starts in the in the tidy tots. He's coachable. And he's the type of player –
Their coach is only 40 years old.
Yeah. He's the type of player like this kid coming out of the draft tonight, Flag.
Yeah.
Their mentality is, I'll get mine. Let's focus on the team. That's his mentality. He's a talent where he can just go crazy, but he lets the game come to him.
Right.
And he plays both ends of the floor. They play both ends of the floor. So congratulations to OKC. That's a good young team. I hope they don't get too, crazy and dismantle it. I would like to see how far they could go. How they could, if they can continue this. Now, repeating back-to-back is pretty tough.
But when you look at that team, though, and compared to what, we've seen out of some, what we've seen out of the Warriors lately, what we, KD got traded to the Rockets. I think that's going to be a complete mess.
You think it's a disaster?
Yeah, absolutely.
Why do you say that?
Because he's been a disaster everywhere he's gone. And really the only reason why he was actually, to me, dominant with the Golden State Warriors is because you had Clay, you had Steph, and you had, to a certain extent, Draymond.
Yeah. This is it for Durant. This is it. The Brooklyn, Phoenix.
Yeah.
He hasn't won since Golden State. Now, this team was the number 2 seed, I believe. They were just young. I think they were tough with Golden State. They signed Van Fleet. They have a good team with Kevin Durant. They do.
But is it enough
The guy
to
is
get
a
him
walking
over the hump?
27 a night. He had his best output this year. So I hear what you're saying.
But do you think you think Houston gave up too much? Remember we were talking about this, like.
So you like youth over.
Well, it's not even
primed out.
that. I just feel like when you look at free agents or you look at these stupid trades that happen in the NBA, when have they ever panned out? I mean, other than KD going to the Warriors. But that wasn't even a trade. He signed there as a free agent, right?
Free agent, yeah.
So you can't even say. But what trade have you seen recently that has, like, blew your mind and said, "Yep, they're going to win"?
The only one I would say, and it didn't blow my mind, was Porzingis to the Celtics. That didn't blow my mind. Like, the Celtics were going to win anyway. I thought they would win.
Okay.
Because they've been there. They were there. So they were, that didn't, that helped. Porzingis helped. But nothing. You're right. Like, it's usually a free agent signing. Ever since, like, I guess, because LeBron signed with the Heat and all that. So, yeah, no actual trade for trade. The swap, has really worked out. I don't know. I think Houston, this is why I think Houston will still be a problem. Houston, we have a problem. I think because of their coach,
Okay.
they extended him.
Okay.
They're young and tough. They
Okay.
play defense. KD will give them another score. Like I said, the guy averaged 27 last year, 28. That's just his MO.
But is with him getting older,
Mm-hmm.
you know, the durability of you're seeing it left and right. All
Yeah.
these people
Yeah.
going down
LeBron looked terrible last year.
with injuries. I mean, you're seeing it even, like with Halliburton.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you're seeing these guys go down.
Tatum.
Yeah.
Lillard.
Yes. Yeah.
And Durant went down before.
Yeah.
You know, that stopped him from a 3. There's no way Toronto beats them without Durant. I mean, with Durant. No way. No chance. But, yeah, even Kawhi went down.
Which comes to my point we were talking about, I think, last time on the show. I am glad Trajan has said that he's not looking to make a huge splash.
I thought about you when I saw that.
And because, like I said, I really want to see him build this team through the draft, do it the right way.
Yeah.
That you know what you're getting.
Yeah.
You know, I just, you know,
thought
can
about
they
you saying-
grab a couple guys that might not be huge stars but make a difference for your team, improve your team? Yeah, there's some of those out there where you don't have to, you know, spend the bank to get them. But I'm kind of glad that, you know, the KD thing's out, the Booker's out, and who knows where Giannis ends up. I hope it's not here.
Well, I'll get to that, and I'll get to the Pistons. But, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. He's going to go with what he's got.
You can't blame him for that.
I
It's
like Langdon.
successful so far.
He's going to go with what he's got. He's going to go with the coach has to be the coach. They bought in. Some kids coming back from injuries. Let's see what we got. You know me. I'm a superstar league. I'm a superstar guy. K's a superstar. He needs another one. That's just me. That's just me.
But do you think Ivy could be that?
It'll be tough this year.
Do you think Duran could step it up? I mean, you know, like I said, that's why I was saying before, I don't really want to see them trade these young players for a proven star now because
Give
I
them an
think
opportunity.
give them an
Chance.
opportunity. At least give them half of next year.
Well, the good thing about it is that they're young.
Yeah.
So they can do it. So that's why it doesn't make it such a, oh my God. So don't panic, Detroit. You know, I don't think anybody's panicked. I think the team is solid, right where they need to be.
But you also said you needed 2 stars.
I do. I believe that.
But you did say the only time it didn't happen was with Isaiah.
Right.
Maybe we have a repeat in Detroit
Could.
where Cade becomes that kind of Isaiah Thomas kind of guy.
Could.
And the other guys kind of, you get your.
They could be more like the 04.
Yeah.
There was no Rasheed was a superstar. Don't get me wrong, he was a superstar, but Chauncey was a star. You know, he was a, you know, and that was just a good team. That was like these guys, kind of. The unity. There was all the egos were in check. Everybody played defense. You know, they were coach. Was it Larry Brown?
Yes.
Yeah, one of the greatest coaches of all time, college or pro. So yeah, that was like this good. I'm not saying that it's just. I think the Pacers without Halliburton are going to be in trouble because he's not. Boston without Tatum, they'll be in trouble. So maybe he looked at it from kind of that standpoint too. Orlando is coming. Cleveland will still be there. Philly is a. I don't know.
And if
what
I'm not
kind of-
mistaken, don't they have 4 or 5 first-round picks? And the draft is tonight.
Who? Yeah, the draft's tonight.
It's Philly. I think they have
Do
in
they?
this draft. I thought I read that. They're spread out.
Yeah.
Sixers first rounders in 2020. I believe it is. They hold the 3rd overall pick. Let's see.
Who's got the first? Dallas?
Sixers. I'm sorry. They hold the number. They have the number 3 overall. There was one team that had a lot. I'm trying to. I wish I would have wrote that down, Cole, because there was somebody's got a lot of first-round picks this year, and I thought it was the Sixers. Maybe it was a different team. Maybe I'm just going crazy. But Is there any other person besides Flag that could be a difference maker?
I don't know. I don't think so. I don't think so. I don't think so. At this point, you got to find those players that want to grind it out, go to a team, get better, learn the game, and then add to the team. That's what, this draft is going to be about to me. Like no hot shots, no superstars. Just go in, get to the system, learn the system, play hard, add to the team. That's all I see.
I'm sorry. Maybe I was misspoken. I spoke on that. I could have swore I'd seen it on here, but the Pistons they draft. I don't think they even have a first round draft pick this year.
No,
it's a second round.
I don't think so.
So,
yeah, I'm on board with Kate, and the Pistons.
Brooklyn's got 2 this year. OKC has 1. From the Clippers at 24, so they can build on, and they also have the 15th.
15.
And this is the team that just won the championship.
Yep.
So,
like
I mean, what else? I mean, what else do you think the Pistons are gonna do? I mean, do you think that they're gonna make a splash? What is your thinking on that? Do you think they're going to make a splash, or do you think Trey John's just going to?
Yeah, he said it.
Stick with what he has.
Yeah, he's sincere about it. He doesn't come off to one of these guys that is like,
I'm sorry. You know who had it? Brooklyn's got 4.
Brooklyn's got 4. Okay.
That was the team.
Okay.
That was the team.
Because of that. Okay. Yeah.
I knew I seen something.
Yeah.
I was like, wow.
Yeah, they need him.
Oh yeah.
They need it. That's a mess too. Philly's a mess. They're a mess. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So I like I said, Trajan's he's standing on his word. He's gonna, and like we said, if they play smarter, who knows? They're out of the first round with the Knicks.
Yeah.
I didn't see much of a difference. Brunson got his call. I didn't see much of a difference in team. Like Pistons just made more mistakes.
Yeah. It was a close series.
It was a
but
very close
even
series.
the OKC Indiana series was kind of close.
Mm-hmm. It was very close.
I mean, when we
it.
talked the other on the last show, they were going to be playing the game 6.
Yeah.
And then
Yep.
we thought that might
I
finish them off.
I said they probably finished them there. But I liked the series. It was
exciting.
It was
exciting.
exciting.
It was a good series.
I thought it was well coached. I thought it was hard nosed. They played clean, smart basketball. I thought both defenses were great. So I enjoyed the series, even though it wasn't your typical big market teams. But Indiana is basketball. People keep forgetting it. Indiana is basketball.
Right.
That's what they do. So yeah, shout out to the Pacers. Shout out to OKC. But I got to get into this. Your buddy. I thought about you twice.
Okay.
When Trajan said he was, he's going to do his thing. What is LeBron James talking about?
You're gonna have to refresh my memory. What is he talking about now? He's always talking about something.
I love it too. He says he came out and said the ring. Why do people put so much emphasis on the ring culture in the NBA, winning the rings in the NBA?
Well, isn't that the reason why he's jumped to so many teams?
Yeah. LeBron's not a dummy. I think he just does this just to get reactions like Aaron Rodgers. I got to believe this because everybody said in his camp he was the chosen one. He was the king. Nobody labeled it. Nobody, you guys brought that out. You're the one that said not 1, not 2, not 3. Right?
Yeah.
And I honestly think LeBron went back to Cleveland to win a championship because he didn't do it.
Right.
So I'm trying to figure out it. And rings do matter. They do. And that's why I thought of you. I know that you can still be great without winning one, but there's the big Thanksgiving table, and then there's the kids' table. Magic Michael, Isaiah, all of them at the big, Kobe, they're all at the big table. LeBron, you're at the big table. Bird's at the big table. That's the difference. Sports is not real life anyway.
Right.
You know how much stuff goes on in life?
Sure.
Serious stuff?
Yeah.
If you look up sports how it works, it's LLC or whatever it is, it says entertainment. So you play for money and you play for winning. Some just play for winning and money, and some just play for money. Those are the difference. So him saying stuff like that is why people say Michael Jordan's the GOAT. Why would you, and like I said, LeBron's no idiot. He's smart.
You think he comes back this year?
Yeah,
This next season?
Yeah, he's coming back. He's got Luka with him. Mm-hmm. They're not going to win. And I think that's his way of saying, I'm not going to get 5. Well, you haven't even gotten to Kobe yet. And I have to tell it like it is with Kobe. But yeah, why rings do matter. Ask Marino.
Yeah, I would agree with you on that.
Ask the Lions.
Yeah,
They do. That's what you play for.
Sure.
Everybody knows that.
yeah.
So why would he say, "Oh, it's not that"? And I get it. It's not. I get what he's kind of saying. Sports is not. But when you're in that arena and you're that great, you have to. That's what it's considered. The great ones win the rings. Bill Russell, that's the difference between. That's why Barkley doesn't get mentioned. And Malone doesn't get mentioned, and you get mentioned because you have. Take away your 4 championships. Nobody's calling you the king or considering you next to Michael. They're not. So the rings do matter.
So do you think if LeBron didn't win the rings that he has, but he has the scoring title, you don't think he would be one of the greatest of all time?
He's Karl Malone.
Okay.
He's Karl Malone with a better dribble. With better handles. That's it.
Yeah.
Big, strong, powerful, down low, bully everybody. He's Karl Malone without the rings. With the rings, he's LeBron James. So it does matter. Like I said, I just think LeBron does it on purpose just to get because he's no dummy.
So when do you think L.A. now the Genie Bus sold her controlling interest for $10 billion? When do you think they say maybe we need to move in a different direction?
This year, after this year, I think this is LeBron's last year. They're not going to win this year either. So you got Luka. Now this guy's the owner of the so he's going to go home run.
Right.
This year, LeBron's last year. Maybe next year, if they get another.
You think they make a big splash this offseason?
I don't know. I think so.
Do they have the assets to make a splash?
Well, you got Luka and LeBron, and you got the other shooter. I forget his name. The fifth. What's he called? The kid. Number 15. The white kid. I forget his name. Sorry.
Reeves?
Yeah, Austin, and then you got. Yeah, you can throw some pieces at another franchise to make them, feel like they're getting something for him.
But LeBron's kind of on minute watch.
He's on minute watch.
He's not going to give you every minute of the game anymore.
I think they need some more. But the one thing that I will tell you, the rumors out there, if this happens, Steph wins 2 more rings. If Giannis goes to Golden State, like you've heard me say this, it's over.
You think so?
It's over. It is over. Who can stop it? How you going to guard Giannis and Steph? And if Butler's there too. Because they ain't going to give up Butler.
I mean, it definitely makes for some exciting basketball coming up.
Who can? And then they say you might push Clay Black, not even though Clay might be reunited, just to go out with his guys. That'll be another 15, 12, 13 points, whatever. Clay actually played decent this year. If you bring Giannis to Golden State, it's lights out. I don't care if it's Joker. I don't care. You can't defend that. You got coach, best shooter, one of the top 10 players ever to play. Giannis, you know what he is. You can't do nothing with that. You just can't. So they better hope they don't.
Well, listen.
Because nobody's winning.
So this is what I wanted to ask you, because this has been coming up quite a bit. After the Halliburton injury, the Achilles, I have read some articles and wanted to bring it up to you. So a lot of catastrophic injuries, if you want to call it, leg injuries, Achilles injuries, where does the blame fall? Is it I've heard the reasoning or the discussion of, well, they just play too much. They play too many games. Then I've heard the the discussion of it's the type of shoes they wear.
Really?
Yeah, I've heard this, and I was listening to a sports radio show that had they were talking about, you never see these guys wear high tops anymore. It's all low top. Could it be like, basketball back in the day, you kind of wore high tops when you played.
Well, it's
right?
it's kind of stylish, but I don't think that's it. I don't think that makes a difference because it's tape. You're still taping. Like
That's true. You
still
you
taped
can
up.
do the tape. So if it's not the shoe, does this all stem from basically these guys playing too much basketball to the point where they're at now of what they did in college, what they did in AAU? Because think about it, and I know we talked about baseball, and we've even brought up to certain athletes, there's no time off anymore.
No.
Like when they're kids.
No.
It's either they play a season of this, and as soon as they leave that, they go into another
That's a good point.
track season, summer track, or sometimes it's you play baseball all year round.
Yeah.
There's never kind of like that. Like when we were kids, it was like you played Little League. You might have played a little bit in the wintertime just to kind of, but you're not
No, we
like
didn't
they
play.
have it now.
No, there's nowhere near like now. We
So
ran.
do you think it's the wear and tear on these kids nowadays? I mean, you think about it, and then the toughness. I think kids or players back in the day were a lot tougher because they could play through injuries, whereas now a lot of these, even though they're getting hurt more, they don't play through these little injuries.
We ran the streets of Detroit and all the time. We ran around and played football and played baseball, played basketball. We didn't get, stole the neighbor's grapes down the street and jumped the fence and ran and all over. Like I don't know. Like, I think that's a good point you just made. It could be too much. Now, I don't know, I don't know when pros get started. Like, I don't know if Cade's probably in the gym every day. He seems like he's a gym rat guy.
Right.
You know what I mean?
But you think about it, like in baseball, you don't have guys like Jack Morris, Nolan Ryan anymore. You have the big flashy guys that can throw 100 miles an hour, but chances of them pitching a complete game, like you seen back in when did throwing complete games kind of go out of the wayside? In the 90s?
Mm-hmm. Late 90s.
So now you have like this big shiny toy, and I get it. The odds of them getting hurt are probably more extreme now, and then now they're making more money, so you're trying to save them. But sometimes though, why is it now that you're trying to protect them, but it seems like every month there's somebody going out with Tommy John.
Yeah.
I don't remember seeing that back 30 years ago.
Tommy John got it with the Yankees when he was with that was like what year? That was in the 80s, and then
No, I think that was in the 70s.
70s?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was that's why they called it Tommy.
Tommy-
He was the
right.
first to
He
get
was
it.
the first to get it, right.
So it's like, but you don't even though I know you got more money thrown out to these players and you're trying to protect them, but are you really protecting them? Because to be honest with you, they
Could it
seem to
be-
be getting hurt more than players back in the day. I'd love to do a study on that.
Could it be body type? Could it be body type? Yeah, like your joints, your leg, like like they were saying, like taller athletes, taller basketball players usually, pass away quicker or something like. I can't remember, but
Okay.
Is it body types? I think Bird was talking about that. I heard Larry Bird was mentioning that, and the wear and tear. Like, so the body's not made for running, right? Not on
Well, it's not made for running for me.
surfaces that
I'm
don't.
not I'm not running
surfaces
anywhere.
surfaces don't
Right.
give, and you keep doing that. Sometimes it just goes.
But
pop.
then I heard, the shoe debate was they said something in regards to the way the foot is in a lot of these shoes that it elevates the heel a little bit and it kind of weakens the Achilles. I've heard that.
Let's get Jared. Let's see if Jared can get a study.
I don't know.
Like if he can.
I don't know if Jared can find something.
No, I don't know if he can get it. I'm just saying, like, we can make this like if we can get like an assignment. Jared is smart. He can get it quick. Like, what's the why? Maybe for next show we can. What's the why? Why so many Achilles tendon injuries?
But you're even seeing it. It's not just, it's not with the NBA. Look how many people go down like every year in football. I don't remember going back maybe this 90s and the 80s.
Well, you don't catch it in. They catch it at training camp.
Yeah, these guys go down like flies.
They don't do it in baseball.
But do you think it may be because they're playing? They don't give their bodies enough time to. And I know that's kind of weird to say because with the medical field and the advancements that we made, and you got to sit in cold water after you're done, and all this other. You know what I'm saying? You think like they know it all when it comes to medicine now. We've had so many great improvements now compared to like in the 70s and 80s and stuff like that. But I mean, when you look at it, the advancements are there. But it seems like these players are going down.
Yeah. So I don't, that's interesting. Like baseball, you don't see it.
No.
I think they drink more beer in baseball. Basketball players don't drink a lot of beer.
You think it's the beer?
They drink champagne and tequila. Baseball players, they're good old boys in the locker room. They got beer. Maybe it's beer. Morris and them didn't get hurt. So listen, when I played all my career in baseball, I never wore a cup, ever, and I hated tape. I never wore tape. Like we used to have, after college, we had a trainer. We used to have to go get tape for baseball. I couldn't do it. It felt like it cut off the circulation.
Yeah.
And I couldn't move. I didn't feel comfortable with it, so I never wore it. Basketball is not like it's a bunch of back and forth running and different cuts. You know what I mean? So you don't see that in baseball. Same as football. Like you said, they get in training camp, and they're just the wrong turn or anything.
But don't you feel like football was more of a violent sport back in the 70s, 80s, 90s compared to? So, and I know we talked about it with Tony one time.
Yeah, Lawrence Taylor just said it yesterday, the other day.
But do you think maybe? But when you go back and you watch a lot of film of back in the day, the pads have changed. You think it's now that everybody has these sleeker pads and
bigger, sharper helmets, heavier duty.
It's almost like, it's been kind of detrimental because you're getting all these injuries.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure you had the head injuries and stuff back in the day. People would get 3 concussions in a game and go back in. You didn't have that medical
and you
information.
You have to almost now these CTE stuff, and you didn't hear a lot about that a lot, but now you're kind of like, you just didn't hear about it back then. You know what I mean? In no sport really.
But
you didn't hear a lot of candies in Dr. J's era and stuff like that.
But it's just weird to me that all these games evolve. Football's evolved, baseball's evolved, whether we like it or not. I'm sure hockey to a certain extent. But it's just like, you get the kind of shiny, faster Ferrari. These guys can have the speed. They can do this. They can do that. But it's like, if they stub their toe, they're out for 6 games. Where back in the day, that might have not happened.
And different athletes, too.
But do you feel the players are better now, today's players, than, let's say, back in like the 80s, 90s? And I know if we were to talk to our fathers, they would say, the guys back in the 40s and 50s and early 60s were better. Do you think these players are better now?
No.
Do you think they have more talent, but they don't have as long a shelf life, career-wise? Because how many football players do you see playing 20 years like Jerry Rice? Of course, that's an anomaly. But
Jerry Rice shouldn't have played 20 years.
Right. or baseball. I mean, how many guys are lasting 20 years in baseball or 15 years in baseball
I don't.
or basketball? Even basketball.
Well, my argument is never going to be the players now. I can't name too many players better than Scottie Pippen, and I'm not even talking Jordan. I'm talking Scottie Pippen.
Okay.
I can't name too many players now better than Scottie Pippen. No. Clyde Drexler, Elijah Wan. Why do people keep saying they're more skilled and no, they weren't.
Right.
Sean Kemp, Gary Payton, Tony Parker, Steve Nash. Where did people get off saying these players are way much better now, more skilled? Where? Who?
I like to say
Mitch
I
Whitman.
could say, you
Do
could say the
people
same
really
thing
understand?
with MLB.
Do people understand how good Grant Hill was?
Yeah. No, I don't think they do.
Ask Michael Jordan how good he was, and Penny Hardaway. Stop with this madness. Stop with this madness. It's madness.
Right.
None of these players are good. Basketball, football. Lawrence Taylor. Who?
Yeah. I agree with
Jim
you.
Brown.
Yeah.
Barry Sanders. Who? Stop. No, they weren't. No. These kids have more advantages. They didn't have the talent, the will, the heart. They weren't better.
But isn't it funny though that
sick of that
they
argument.
have the more advantages, like let's say
Yeah.
medically, and performance enhancing.
Yes.
You know,
Technology, times change.
Yeah, but like I said, I feel like they're not as tough as what they were back in the day.
They weren't.
In any sport.
Nope. In any sport. Hockey too.
Yeah.
In any sport. It's not. It's not the same. It is not. You're not going to get me with that one. I've seen enough basketball to know Moses Malone was the real deal. This is it's blasphemy.
Well, look at how your dad talks about Will Chamberlain.
Exactly.
You're not going to have anybody score 100 points in a game. No, and that's before the 3-point.
Not to mention average 50.
Right.
I don't care how small they were.
Right. Yeah.
Bill Russell wasn't small. There was people that stop. That's never an argument for me. That and music now and music then, and sports now and sports then, that's not even an argument.
I agree with you.
Yeah, nope.
What else you got on the docket over there? I see you have a few things written down. I mean, we've done Pistons, we've done Tigers. What else you got down there?
Aaron Rodgers. No.
What do you want to talk
Forget
about?
Aaron for a minute. Let's get to this.
Do you think
real
they make
quick.
the
We got
playoffs?
time. Pittsburgh, no. And it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough. Wild card, maybe. But I'm going to tell you who I was looking through the NFL stuff and all this stuff. The scariest team to me is going to be the Rams.
Really?
Yes. The defense is nasty. The defense, that front is nasty. Now you add Stafford with the kid in Green Bay that went to the Raiders that never should have left Green Bay, the receiver, Devontae, along with the other receiver. It's going to be trouble. It's going to be trouble. Devontae Adams was better than all these guys until he left.
Well, it's going to be nice to see Stafford have a pretty much sure number one
And
threat.
he's got two number ones.
This will be his best wide receiver to throw to since what? Calvin Johnson.
Probably. I mean, Kupp was good, but Kupp, they were two different
Right.
styles.
Yeah, Kupp was more a slot receiver.
Yeah, and the guy now, Akua,
Akua, yeah. Yeah.
if they get an inkling of a run game, it's over. It's going to be trouble. It's going to be trouble. I was just looking at that.
So is that your prediction? The Rams out of the NFC?
No. I don't know yet. And Shefty, Adam Schefter, he's everything about football.
Right.
He says, your guys, I know you don't like them. He said, but your guys are going to be trouble. Chi-Town.
Who? Chi-Town's going to be trouble?
He says, Chi-Town's going to be trouble. Adam Schefter knows all.
Okay. Well, we'll see. We're going to have to take this week by week. I can't make a big bold prediction yet.
Yeah, your line though. What are you guys going to do? I mean, it's kind of makeshifty, right? The Lions, the offensive line now with Ragnow. And
There's a lot of questions.
Moving some other people.
There's a
over
lot
here.
of questions to me.
Yeah.
You know, do I think they're going to be a successful team? Yeah, I do.
Well, yeah, they have to be now.
Are they the favorite out of the NFC to win to go to the Super Bowl? As of right now, I would say no. But they're in the running. I listen, people can say what they want. 49ers, I don't think give Brock Purdy all the money you want. I don't think the 49ers are that type of team. Who else? The Seahawks aren't going to do anything.
Well,
Now people say the sleeper in all this could be Atlanta Falcons. I that's still out. I mean, they got the talent, I guess. If Penix can come around and get Drake London and Bijan Robinson can do their thing.
And Pitts.
If
he can stay healthy too, he's got to stay healthy. He has some injury stuff.
Yeah. I mean that's the big thing.
The big thing
to say, because you never know. Things change. Things can change so quickly in the NFL. Like, you know, this is the favorite going in, and then like we see all the time, somebody tears their ACL, hurts their knee, rips their hamstring, and then they're out till the middle of the season.
It's season changing. Yeah.
I mean, anything can happen.
Anything can happen. The Rams.
Well, let me ask you this: if Ben Johnson didn't take that Chicago Bears job, would you consider the Lions one of the favorites to go to the Super Bowl in the NFC?
Because I've seen the song and dance before with Ben.
Well, that's what I'm saying. How with the way you talk about Ben Johnson, how do you think he's going to improve the Bears?
Well, this is what I'm saying. Not him.
Okay.
The players that they got. So the players that they got, which is they traded for the offensive line. This is what Shefty was saying. The offensive line, all the receivers, and the running back, and the tight end, the kid from Michigan. It's just a lot that they're putting in front of him. I don't know what Ben Johnson can do as a head coach. I know what he can do as an offensive. That
remains to be seen.
I know what he can do as an offensive coordinator.
Well, he's definitely going to be better than Eberflus.
Oh, yeah. And we got him, and we got him where he belongs, calling defenses. That's what he does. That's what he is. He's already got linebackers and everything changed out there. They're going crazy out there in Dallas, but that remains to be seen. Eberflus is that guy. Ben Johnson, let's see if you're this guy. Let's see if you're this guy. Because, like you said, he came right on in. Get the line. Get the back. Get the tight end. Because the kid likes to throw. He likes to move and throw. You know, he's a poor man Mahomes. So they're saying with his wizardry, I didn't think it was that much, but they're going to try to fix him, you know. They're going to try to protect him as much as they can. That's what Shefty was saying. But like I said, I still see. I think they're going to be trouble because they were decent last year. They weren't good, but they were. You saw flashes of how they could be. But he got sacked 8 billion times. Let's see if he can stay. If he can stay upright, let's see what he can do. There's no excuses, you know, because you said you got the line, you got the stuff. So let's see if he can stay upright.
Maybe we'll see a NFL season that'll totally surprise us.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe some dark horse candidate teams come out of the woodwork that we didn't think going in. Maybe the Steelers make a run with the last hurrah for Aaron Rodgers.
Aaron is like
he's kind of
I need him back.
Well, yeah, but you know
and
what?
And he got to protect him. If you don't, and that line is makeshift. It's kind of makeshifty. I like the Steelers. I like Tomlin, but I think this is make or break. This is it.
I mean, that's going to
blow this thing up.
That's going to be a tough division to do anything.
It is.
I'm still wondering though if the Bengals fall flat on their face. If they do,
no, can't. Quarterback's too good. I keep telling you that.
Yeah, I know, but they didn't really
Receivers
do much
too
last
good.
year.
Well, he was hurt.
Yeah,
he's got to stay upright too. Yeah,
I guess that remains to be seen.
Now I know whose season is over. The Colts. They just made Daniel Jones a starter. So that's already.
But you know what? You're absolutely right on
The
that.
season's over.
Yeah, it's season's over. But I'll be honest with you. I never was high on Anthony Richardson coming out of Florida,
I wasn't either.
and he's proven. I think he's got a shoulder injury.
Well, he's got to show, and he misbehaves. Is the word
okay
in camp? He's not.
Well, they've been kind of flailing since Andrew Luck retired.
Yeah, completely. He misbehaves, and he's not. I guess not that knowledgeable of things, plays, and things like that. So
Is it surprising though that they decided to go Daniel Jones this early? Is it that bad of a quarterback pool that Daniel Jones is your number one quarterback going into the camp?
It's that bad.
Or is it?
Over.
Or is it? Was it? Daniel Jones. Was he just didn't have what it took? The Giants didn't put people around him other than Saquon.
Daniel Jones stinks. It's not. We got to stop. This year, we're going to just not sugarcoat stuff. We can't.
Did we sugarcoat stuff last year? Though?
He stinks as a pro. He doesn't stink as he's made it to the pros.
Okay,
but for us, he stinks. You know, he stinks to us. Like pro, he made it to pros. So don't. It's not like a personal thing. Just what you've shown us as a pro. Season's over. Cleveland season's over. Carolina season is already over.
But you don't think the Colts will be
no
in that division?
No.
With Jonathan Taylor?
Daniel Jones. Makes a difference. Titans are going to win that. Not the Titans. Shroud and them are going to win that. Texans. That's their division to lose.
Yeah.
That's their division to lose. Yeah, that's the season's over. Like Carolina, some of these teams you can just go through. Even though Tampa will win, their season, they're not going to the Super Bowl. Saints, season's over. We don't know who's quarterback there.
Yeah, that's...
Yeah, I don't know what's going on out there. So some of the stuff, and I hate to say it, but if I like him, Trevor Lawrence. That's it.
You think this is make or break
This
year
is
for
make
him?
or break. This is make or break. Cleveland season over. You're going with Flacco again. Shadour's not even getting reps with ones. He's out doing 200 miles per hour, getting speeding tickets and already clowning.
Well, do you think Flacco ends up becoming? You think they're going to go? I almost kind of think Kenny Pickett will end up being the number one before the season ends.
Season over. Season over. It's over with Shadour. Season over in Cleveland already. Some teams just don't have it. Don't have a chance. And people keep forgetting, Brady was Shadour's mentor. He didn't draft him.
Well, that is true.
So
we'll see. It's going to be an interesting NFL season.
It is. 24 days to training camp. Here we go. Here we go.
It's getting hot.
It's getting, yep.
I mean, it's already been hot all week. 100-degree temps.
Yep. Here we go.
So, what else you have on there?
Nothing, man. I just wanted to. We have so much stuff to cover. I wanted to reference. I wanted to give this some attention. I guess you could call it. This is my. It bothered me. You know how much of a Kobe fan I am. So, Tracy McGrady comes on. He's on Gilbert Arenas' show, and he says, if he had Shaq with him, he could have led the Lakers with a chance. He never had a chance. Well, you had Yao Ming. You did have Yao Ming in Houston, and you were in the series you were up, but you didn't. And I like Tracy McGrady. I do. But this just threw me because he's always supportive of Kobe. But he said, he could have won, like kind of diminishing. Well, you wouldn't have three-peated. And you wouldn't have won without Shaq. Like, I think people forget
minimize what Kobe's done without Shaq.
It bothers me. It just bothers me. He could have won like 6. He won 5. So, and Gasol, he didn't make the 75 greatest player. Paul Gasol didn't make that. He was getting swept in Memphis. So it was Kobe and dudes. In the championship that he won, he went 28, 8, 4, and 2. 2 being steals. Can we stop? Like, Gilbert Arenas, and it just got really kind of ugly to me.
But do you think a lot of that is they're saying that to get clicks?
I don't know.
Views?
I would just hope.
Because a lot of stuff that's said is ludicrous.
I get it. Yeah, I get it. But this kind of like, if they were all sitting, it was like basketball mind. You would think the players. That's why I love Bird and Iverson so much, because they're honest. Michael 1, Kobe 2. Both of them say it. But that's not what I'm getting here for. It was just like, really? You're diminishing this man's work ethic. Nobody's a saint. Nobody's, I'm not taking up Kobe because he's dead. That was my guy. But his work ethic is what set him apart from even Jordan. He worked harder than Jordan. Like he came into high school. He was with pros in high school. They were like, this kid, he ate, drank, and slept his craft. That's the difference. Like Iverson said, I was at the club. Kobe was in the gym at 2 and 3 in the morning. So don't just sit there and say, like, this is just Shaq. And it was Shaq. Shaq won an MVP in some of those finals. But don't just sit there and say, this guy doesn't deserve, because to me, he's number 2. Like, and I love Kareem and all that, but he's number 2. But don't just try and put it like, well, you guys said he'll never win without Shaq. Well, he did. He won 2. Now he's got 5. So I'm talking hard work, guts, willing to fail, take chances, risk. McGrady, Kobe was 12-time All-League defense. 12. You were 0. We need to don't do that. And I like T-Mac. I don't even. Yeah. And I respect Gilbert too, but let's not diminish like what this kid did. So that just kind of rubbed me the wrong way when I saw that. I'm like, McGrady, you know better than that. You know Mamba. Come on.
Well, let me ask you this. What was the better Lakers team? The 80s Kareem, Magic, Worthy, or the Shaq, Kobe?
Team Magics. Yeah, Worthy and Magic and Kareem. Top 50. Top 50 players. And you had a good bench. Michael Coop. You had Jamal Wilkes. That was a better team.
And you could probably say they had to play tougher teams.
Yeah.
Than what Kobe and Shaq did.
Now, they didn't. Those weren't sleepers. The Kings weren't sleepers. Sacramento wasn't sleepers. In those finals, I forgot who Shaq and Kobe played in the finals. But they had to get through Portland. They had to get through Sacramento with Chris Webber, Divac. Those are good teams. We weren't like what Lakers faced the Celtics.
Yeah.
The greatest teams of all time, And Philadelphia with Doc and Moses and in the 80s.
And the Pistons.
And the Pistons come. Here comes
Which
Isaiah.
they could have lost that series.
Yes,
They lost that first one.
Yes.
Interesting.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
What else you got?
That's it.
That's it?
That's all I got.
That's all you got?
That's all I got. But, yeah, I'm interested. I wanted to get your take on the A-Rod thing, Aaron Rodgers thing about the wife. He got married, right?
From what I've heard.
Now, talk about a clicker.
Yeah.
Does he? You know who he is.
Do you think he's going to be more of a distraction?
Yeah, he's always a distraction. Because Aaron Rodgers, he likes it. See, what people don't understand, he's got the same thing as LeBron does and A-Rod, my favorite baseball player. They are attention seekers. And they're so good, they don't even know how really good they are. So they have to look at me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
As good as A-Rod, he did things like to opt out in the middle of the World Series to make the announcement, to get the attention. You know what I mean?
Right.
LeBron does the same thing. Aaron Rodgers, they're the same. I think A-Rod's grown up a little bit, but Aaron Rodgers, this is what he does. He goes on the talk show and, you know, the McAfee show. He's a host of it, isn't he? He's always on there.
He's always on there.
So now he's got a wife that he's getting mad about because nobody's ever seen her or whatever.
It's not surprising.
It's just, so I love it. It gives us something to talk about.
Is she still in South America in one of those ayahuasca retreats? Maybe she's still there.
We'll see.
Maybe he thought he got married, but when he was taking ayahuasca, but he really didn't. You never know.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I want to see them play some football with him.
Has anybody seen a picture of this of his wife?
No.
And isn't that kind of weird if that's the case? If that nobody's, especially with the way social media and this, and everybody has a phone.
Yeah.
They've never seen his wife.
Maybe it's Danica Patrick again. She's not coming out.
Well, maybe it's fake wife. Maybe it's an ayahuasca experience. You never know.
I can't wait. But I want to see him and Tomlin. He respects.
It's gonna be it's gonna be a good season. Yeah. I think this sports. I think college football is going to be different this year. I think NFL is going to be different. I think it's just going to be completely different. Yeah. I think NHL is going to be different. I just have that feeling.
Yeah. Yeah.
That it's just we're just going to see a lot of different things that from what we seen last year. Yeah. Good or bad, I don't know.
Yeah.
You know?
So yeah, and you mentioned Ann Arbor, so keep following us, folks. Keep watching us. We're going to hopefully, we will be in Ann Arbor for Michigan's opener. Yeah. If everything goes the way that it should. So look for us there. Come out, join us. The target is Fraser's Pub. Yeah. So hopefully that'll be happening August 30th. And we're going to be starting bright and early in the morning. Yeah. So
live.
We're just waiting on a few more things to
come.
To open up. Yeah. Yeah. Yep. So you'll be hanging out with us.
Yeah, absolutely.
Football's back, ladies and gentlemen.
I'm looking forward
24
to
days.
It. I know we'll have our good buddy EVJ calling in for some football.
When he's not gallivanting all over the world.
Yeah. He's back
his lovely wife
he's back
and kids.
In California.
Yeah, yeah.
Made it through safe.
Yeah.
But, So, listen, we will bid you adieu here on the Roar Live. We'll be back in 2 weeks. We're going to take a little break. Jared is going to go up camping, and so we're gonna let him do his camping thing next week.
Is he going to hunt?
And I don't know if he hunts. I don't think he hunts.
Oh, okay.
He's just a camper. So he's gonna do his Boy Scout, Eagle Scout camping up there. Out of his car.
Okay.
And so he'll have a good time. But, of course, gives us a chance to woo-saw a little bit with the holiday weekend and whatnot. And then, of course, we'll be back on in 2 weeks, and we'll have some more information on where we're going to be live remotes coming up throughout the season. So we'll have some more information for everybody.
Yeah. Looking forward to it.
Yeah. And, of course, there'll be more.
We're rolling.
We'll be closer to the All-Star break, and we'll know what Tigers probably will make it. I know you're sitting at the edge of your seat waiting for that.
I got an idea, but it really just should be Scooble and Hinch. I guess you can throw Green in there, but everything else, no. Scooble, Hinch, Green.
Is it funny, though, that Green is ahead of Trout?
No. It's stupid, but it's not funny. But they're winning.
Yeah.
When you win, you do that.
Right.
And Green's been solid. I liked him when he first came up. I just think he strikes out too much.
I agree. He's got 100 strikeouts.
Yeah, he's nice.
Yeah, but okay. Well, listen, Willie, we'll see you next time right here on the Roar Live, streaming on mymichigantv.com and the Cavana Broadcast Network. For Jared in the control room, I'm Scotty William, and that is Corey Tiez. And we'll see you in 2 weeks, folks.
Be
Some
safe.
more great sports for you.